Regardless if you're destroying Atheon in the hopes of getting the Vex Mytho class, or farming lost sectors looking for a specific exotic, or shoot, maybe you just want to melt strike bosses, having the right exotic can make all of these tasks much easier. Well, in today's video, we're going to be going over the top 10 exotics you need to have in your arsenal to make any PvE activity much easier. Keep in mind that this list isn't specific to any season, since with every new season, we get a refresh in artifact mods. Also, don't mind the placement of each exotic on this list, since this isn't a proper ranking video and more of a must-have exotic list. But with that out of the way, let's get into the video. The first exotic on the list is extremely rare. It's so rare, for new players, you will have a 3,720 to 1 chance to get this weapon. We have the 1000 Voices. This is an exotic heavy fusion rifle with the exotic perk Ahamkar's Eye. Charging this weapon unleashes a giant continuous beam of death. Also, it comes with the second perk, Unforeseen Repercussions. This weapon's beam superheats its target upon impact, causing delayed explosions. When it comes to melting bosses in Destiny 2, there isn't any other exotic that can get the job done faster than the 1000 Voices. Now, this exotic can be acquired by defeating Riven of 1000 Voices in the Last Wish raid. Keep in mind that this isn't a guaranteed drop, since defeating Riven will only grant you a key, which can be used to open up the chest in the final room. Huge disclaimer here, if you have bad RNG, there's a chance you could never get this gun. At base, this gun is great, but with the current season and with the current artifact mod, Particle Deconstruction, this exotic really shreds any boss. The next weapon on the list isn't just deadly in PvP, but in PvE, it can be your best friend. We have the Lemonark. Lemonark. Trust me, that's the way it's pronounced. This is an exotic energy void combat bow with the exotic perk Poison Arrows. Arrows fired quickly after a full draw become poison arrows. Precision hits with poison arrows spread poison to nearby enemies. When it comes to farming legend lost sectors for new exotics, Lemonark is such a good weapon for overall ad control. But if the seasonal artifact mod is specific for combat bows, this should be a weapon that flies to the top of your list. Dealing damage to overload champions can be easily done with poison arrows. Since landing critical shots deals poison, and now that poison damage lingers on that overload, you can keep that overload in a stun effect. As for acquiring this exotic, it can be easily done by purchasing it at the Exotic Archive Monument of the Lost Lights. It doesn't really cost much, and I highly recommend that this is an exotic that you get immediately. Next on the list, we have the Wrist Runner, which is an exotic energy SMG with the perk Arc Conductor. When taking arc damage, this weapon becomes more powerful and resists incoming arc damage. Kills extend the time in this overcharged state. Now, I know low-level ads such as Thrall aren't difficult to destroy, but when you're using the Wrist Runner with Arc Conductor active, you can easily microwave these minions of the dark. If any activity in the future has substantial arc damage, then this weapon is something you might want to keep on your character. This exotic is a random world drop, but it can be purchased from Xur when he has it available, but you can always test your luck with one of his engrams. Our next exotic on the list takes the power of the Taken and puts it in our hands. We have the exotic kinetic grenade launcher, the Wither Horde. The Wither Horde comes with the exotic perk Prime Evil's Torment. Projectiles fired by this weapon blight the target or nearby area of impact. Also, it has the legendary trait Break the Bank, in which blighted targets takes damage over time and blight the nearby area of death. Look, this exotic does it all. This exotic not only deals significant damage to any boss, but by letting the perk auto-loading holster take effect, you can deal massive amounts of damage by swapping between weapons. But not only that, this exotic is great for dealing with any large group of enemies, since each enemy destroyed will leave a blight on death, which in turn will cause other enemies to be consumed by the blights. This is another exotic that can be purchased from the Exotic Archive, and yes, this is one that I highly recommend you get immediately. The next exotic we have on the list is the Sleeper Simulants, which is a heavy linear fusion rifle with the perk
Dornröschen.
I had something stuck in my throat there. The perk reads, the weapon's laser over-penetrates enemies and refracts off hard surfaces. Look, for those of you who have terrible RNG and still haven't gotten the 1000 Voices, this is going to be your next best option, which conveniently can be purchased from the Exotic Archive. This exotic is great for dealing large amount of DPS on any target, but what makes this weapon even deadlier is the ability to deal that DPS from a safe distance. Unlike weapons such as the 1000 Voices, which has limited range, the Sleeper can be considered the opposite of this weapon. It is a great option for dealing DPS from a distance. For those of you looking to do optimal DPS on any raid boss, the Sleeper should be your top tier #1 option. Moving on into our next weapon, we have the... Who knew there were so many powerful fusion rifles in Destiny 2? The next weapon we have on the list is the exotic fusion rifle, the Merciless. With the exotic perk Conserve Momentum, in which non-lethal hits with projectiles makes this weapon charge faster until the wielder gets a kill. It also comes with the perk Impetus, in which reloading immediately after a kill increases the weapon's damage for a short time. Now you're probably wondering,
when would I use this exotic brave?
Sure, you have exotics like 1000 Voices and a Sleeper Simulant. There's no need for this. But if you're really looking to deal maximum DPS, and you have weapons like the Threaded Needle or the Reed's Regret, weapons like these can take the slot of your heavy weapon, while the Merciless takes the exotic slot in your special category. Overall, if you're looking to deal maximum damage, sometimes you need to have a variety of weapons on your character. And as for obtaining this exotic fusion rifle, this is another exotic drop from the world, but can be purchased from Xur when he has it available. Again, you can always test your luck and try to get it from an engram. Moving on into our next weapon, we have another combat bow. We have the Trinity Ghoul. This is an exotic combat bow with the perk Split Electron. Now the perk reads, fires an arrow that splits when released. Aiming down sights and fully drawing the bow decreases the spread. Similar to our exotic SMG, the Wrist Runner, the Trinity Ghoul has an electrifying effect on your enemies. This can be accomplished by using the perk Lightning Rod. Precision kills grant chain lightning capabilities. I'm sure you've guessed it by now. This is another must-have weapon when it comes to completing Legend and Master Lost sectors. When it comes to farming Lost sectors requiring you to defeat combatants with arc shields, there isn't any better option that gets the job done faster than the Trinity Ghoul. This is another random world drop. Again, you can purchase this from Xur when he has it available, but you can always try your luck with one of his engrams. Our next weapon surprisingly isn't a fusion rifle. It's actually the only heavy machine gun we have on the list. We have the Xenophage. With the exotic perk Pyrotoxin rounds, fires high powered explosive ammunition. Now this weapon had its moment to shine a few seasons ago, but in the current season it hasn't gotten much love. But that shouldn't stop you from acquiring this heavy machine gun. Unlike other heavy machine guns that fire a barrage of bullets, Xeno is the complete opposite. This exotic heavy machine gun fires one high-powered shot at a time. This weapon used to be a DPS monster in activities like the Garden of Salvation raid, but with more and more activities being introduced into Destiny 2, I'm sure Xeno will have its time to shine in the future. Now acquiring this weapon is fairly easy, but time consuming. You can pick up the exotic quest for this from Eris Morn, and she's going to be located on the moon. I'll be leaving a full guide in the description down below. For those of you looking to get this weapon, just follow that video. Next on the list, we have our first and our only support exotic on our list today, and that is going to be the Divinity, which is an exotic energy trace rifle with the perk Judgment. Sustained damage with this weapon envelops the target in a field that weakens and stuns them. To put it in simpler terms, when you hit a target with the Divinity, you create a shield-like dome around them, which allows your teammates to easily land critical shots without having to shoot the target in their critical spot. This is another weapon that requires quest completion. You can find that whole guide down below in the description. We finally made it to the final weapon on the list. We have the exotic kinetic SMG, the Huckleberry. With the exotic perk Ride the Bull, increased rate of fire and recoil while holding down the trigger. Kills with this weapon reload a portion of the magazine. This is yet another weapon that can easily destroy large hordes of enemies, all while never letting off the trigger to reload. This exotic does come with the legendary perk Rampage, so pairing the perk Ride the Bull and Rampage, you have an SMG that reloads itself and now has bonus damage active. As for acquiring this weapon, this is another random world drop, but you can purchase it from Xur when he does have it available. But again, you can test your luck with one of his engrams. Hopefully this list helps those of you out there looking to pick up some of the best exotics in Destiny 2. Regardless if you're completing a raid or farming for exotics in a lost sector, these are the best exotics that will allow you to do any of the PvE activities with ease. If you enjoyed the video, Feel free to let me know by liking the video, which tells me to make more videos like this. Also, if you're new to the channel and would like more Destiny 2 content, let me introduce myself. I'm BraveX Hero and I cover everything PvP and PvE related. If you want, click that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. But with that, thank you so much for watching and spending some time with me today. I'll catch you in the next video.